the home of the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. Is it possible, just maybe, that Nick Saban tanked that South Florida game completely on purpose to prove a point? Because, Nick Saban has this thing about him since he's been here, that if he has a certain quarterback that he wants to start and it works out that maybe he might not be right, he may intentionally start some players that he knows maybe won't produce quite as well if put in certain circumstances. Because those quarterbacks in the South Florida game, it doesn't seem like the playbook was as open as it was with Milroe. So is it possible that Nick Saban tanked that last game on purpose? Let's talk about it. It's another fabulous day in the outlaw neighborhood. That's right. And here they come once again. It's the outlaw posse, now in effect. And today we're going to start off with the comment of the day. The deputy comment of the day comes to us from Dale Cent. Dale Cent says, Jesse, as a lifelong Sooner fan, OU has historically played better when they're ranked low. These kids can play with a chip on their proverbial shoulder. Boomer. In reference to the fact that I think that Oklahoma was disrespected in the poll this past week. Now, the four horsemen shout-outs of the day go to Eric Blomquist, Mike Wilkerson, the Rhino 26, and Hoss are saddled up there, mounted up there, ready to go to help me with this college football invasion. If you want to be possibly the comment of the day, as well as get a four horseman shout out, all you got to do is join the Outlaw Posse, and you also get your badge, and you'll get deputized. It's not but $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. It's a little join button next to the subscribe button. Also, I can be found on Twitter at OCF Productions. Now, getting right to it here. Alabama's got a big game coming up this week, and they didn't look very good against South Florida. They looked decent against Texas without the cluster of turnovers by the turnover machine that I call Jalen Milroe. But they still kept the game pretty close, and they had a chance to win it up until the middle part of the fourth quarter before, like I said, Jalen Milroe turned into a turnover machine that he's done in the last two big games that he's played with Texas and Texas A&M. And then we had South Florida, and we only beat them 17-3, and it was 10-3. It was 3-3 at halftime, and the playbook just didn't seem like it was very open to these two quarterbacks, in my opinion. Tyler Buckner did not look very good at all. He probably hurt himself by starting this game. Simpson come in the third quarter and cleaned it up and actually pulled the game out for Alabama. But it did not seem like the playbook was quite as open for those two as it was for Jalen Milroe, and their opportunity to prove themselves, to me, was sort of stunted. And to me, Nick Saban sometimes does this. He'll get on a little tangent where he wants something a certain way. And people are like, well, he's legendary, coach, he should have it his way if he wants it his way. Yeah, but my point is, if you hire those assistants, whomever they may be, your offensive, defensive coordinators, yes, you have the ultimate say. But those guys should have some input. Now, whether they do or not, I do not know. I just have a gut feeling that maybe they don't have as much input, since they're both totally new, as coordinators in the past may have had with Nick Saban. Let's run over some stats here with Ole Miss, the game coming up against Alabama that's going to, I think it's a huge game that's going to dictate the rest of the season for Alabama. Jalen Milroe, who has now been named the starter, surprise, surprise, after the other two were struggled and really didn't have the playbook open to them. Jalen Milroe will start the game, and if he turns into another turnover machine again, and Alabama loses to Ole Miss, it could be a historically bad season for Nick Saban and his tenure at Alabama. Now, I don't think he'll go 7-6 like he did his first year, but if we lose to Ole Miss, it would not surprise me if Alabama went 8-4 the rest of the year. Ole Miss's stats from last week were somewhat impressive with just one player. Jackson Dart was 10 of 18 for 251 yards and a touchdown. Jackson Dart also was the leading rusher on 14 attempts for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. The leading receiver was Jordan Watkins. He had 4 receptions, 119 yards, and a touchdown. Now, last week, Alabama's defense done pretty good. I mean, they held them to 3 points. You can't ask them much better than that unless they shut them out. But one thing that did keep happening to the defense is they were giving up tons of yards to the quarterback rushing. And I see this, and that's the first thing that jumps out to me, man. I'm like, oh, man. And Jackson Dart is a much better passer than the South Florida quarterback. So if he's got the running game and the passing game going just for himself, and Alabama doesn't seem very adept at putting a spy on the quarterback, it could be a very long night for Alabama. What I'm hoping is that maybe this fires Jalen Milroe up. As you know, Jacob Coker was benched back when he became the starter at Alabama. He was benched for the Ole Miss game, ironically. And they come in the middle of the game and almost pulled it out for him. It lit a fire under his ass, and for the rest of the season, he was the quarterback. He ended up winning the national championship, actually. So I'm hoping that maybe this is a Jacob Coker type situation, that Jalen Milroe, having to have set out for that game, it may light a fire under his ass. I'm not going to get into Alabama stats last week because they were horrendous, and you don't need to even say them. I mean, it already depresses me enough. But if the defense can get their shit together and not let Jackson Dart get out of the pocket and hurt him with his legs, Alabama could keep this game close into the third and fourth quarter. Alabama could pull this game out. It almost feels like Alabama's the underdog in this game to me. I'm not privy to the lines. I don't really pay much attention to betting lines. I'm not much of a gambler. Y'all can drop in the comment section if you want to tell me the point spread on this game. But it just feels like Alabama's almost like the underdog going into this game. And with everything that I'm saying here, you would think I'm probably favoring Ole Miss to win this game. But I'm not. I think that Alabama can pull this game out. All they got to do is contain Jackson Dart. Don't let him get outside the pocket. Make him pass the ball to Beachy. He's going to get his yardage passing. He might get 250 yards like he did last game. But if he doesn't have the option to run the ball as well, then you might be able to hold him down. And I think in the end, Alabama will pull it out. I don't know if it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'd say Alabama probably will win this game 23 to maybe 14 or 23 to 17 is what I'm thinking. But we'll see. We'll see if Nick Saban was just playing possum, because I have a feeling that he knew that Alabama wasn't going to lose to South Florida. Now, he dicked around a little too long for my comfort, but I think Jalen Milroe is going to come out in this game. He's going to maybe be fired up to prove himself, and hopefully if we can just have one turnover out of him, we can probably win this game by a score, maybe even 2. And that's all I got to say about that. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Also, as I said before, if you want your badge and you want to get deputized and maybe get your random 4 horseman shout out as well as be the comment of the day, there's a little join button next to the subscribe button. Hit that join button. It's now $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. And if you're on an Apple phone, you might have to go to your laptop or your computer in order to join, because it doesn't mesh with YouTube memberships for some reason. And with that, I'm out of here. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.